Hello and welcome back to Juno New Origins. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video. Now, last time out, we were making some quick money by exploding rockets like fireworks. Cue the Katy Perry song. Not going to sing it, will be demonetized. And then subsequently, I tried to make a glider just by throwing things together and seeing if it works. No real science involved, just very rudimentary aerodynamics. Somebody did point out that I was using fins, which is why I was having problems with controlling the glider and actually getting the lift, thus I wanted to. Now, the angle on the fins should have given us some of the lift that I was after, but certainly I can see where they were going with that, because a symmetrical aerofoil is not going to really generate any lift. It will give you stability, but no real lift, which is the point of a fin. A fin is actually supposed to give stability. Had I used an actual wing part, perhaps that would have been different. Nevertheless, off camera, I did manage to somehow get it to glide with a few adjustments. But there we go. Funnily enough, I did it again after getting it to glide, and then it didn't glide. So, very, very interesting. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but there you go. In this video, I'm going to attempt, at least at the start, I'm going to attempt this contract. I have no idea how long it's going to take me. It says Drew's atmosphere ends right under 80 kilometers. Can you go to space to expose a probe a scientist has sent to me? So we have to get 80 kilometers above sea level and then launch or have a payload with us. And then I suppose deploy the payload? I have no idea how this is going to work. We get 50k in total, 10k as a signing bonus, and then we shall get 40k on completion. Now, instead of just throwing things together as I did last time, this time around I'm going to attempt to do just a little bit of science. Maybe not put all of the numbers in, make some assumptions, but I am going to do a little bit of science off camera, not in game. I have been brushing up a little on my equations, trying to do a few things, but one of the equations that I have been trying has not worked the way I want it to. If I get around to explaining what that equation was, then great. If not, it does not really matter. So yes, that is what we're going to be getting up to today. Just a quick reminder before we start. If you do enjoy these videos, please do give them a thumbs up, click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, it is free, and please do leave a comment letting me know that you want to see more and what are you enjoying about it. That is really important. With all that said and done, let's roll the intro and let's get started. Let's see if I can do this first time as I managed to do it the other time when I actually used some science. Okay, so we have our craft to begin with. The craft is currently just a command pod. Let's go find the payload. Payload is one of these. Payload, there we go. That's a good place to put it. Okay, this could be interesting. That is a teeny tiny payload. That's smaller than any rocket I have currently been working with. That should make things a little interesting. How big is that? 2.4. Let's start with this. So there are a few things I need to take into account when designing this rocket. The first thing is, it is going up to 80 kilometers where there is going to be no atmosphere. In fact, I'm going to assume that everything between 50 and 80 kilometers is going to be fairly negligible atmosphere. In fact, it shan't be completely negligible, but I may be able to just do an estimate of saying, right, 1/10 of the delta V that is remaining we can wipe off due to drag. That could be how I do this. The parts where drag is going to play a big part is going to be off the launch pad and for the first probably 20-25 kilometers. That is where drag is really going to be playing a big role in shedding off our delta V. Now, what sort of delta V would I be looking at to get up to 80 kilometers? Now we start at, if I just put this down here just as a reminder, I believe we start at, is it 1.2 kilometers up? I may be wrong. Maybe wrong about that. Could be 2.4 kilometers up. Let's just say we start at, actually I think 2.7 may be correct. Not 2.4, 2.7 may be the right amount. But it's okay. Let's say we start around 2. So for us to be able to, we do not want to go too far. We do not want to overshoot and end up at 100,000 kilometers, for example, because that is not the point of this mission, and it is just going to cost us more to get to that point. We need to save as much money as possible getting to that point, simply because that is how we do things. Of course, I could strap on a massive tank like that onto this and 50 rockets, and I'm sure it would, 50 engines, and I'm sure it would reach where I wanted it to reach. But just doing that, and well, not that, just doing that, look at the cost already starting to go up, and that is without any engines. Engines are expensive. So what I'm going to think about is how far can we coast. So when we run out of thrust, how fast do we want to be going, which will then tell us how much we can coast. And the way to do this is we are going to be slowed down by gravity, and then, as I said, I'll add, let's say, 10% for drag. So if we think about the delta V that we lose to gravity, that is GT. Now, this is going to be a little bit of mathematics here. If we start with an acceleration, if we were to integrate, which is find the area under the curve of acceleration, let's say, so we've plotted a curve, or we've plotted a line showing us the acceleration. It could be a curve, which will be acceleration over time, or something like that. The area under that will give us our velocity. So if you work it out between 2 points of acceleration, i.e. 2 points on the line, you will figure out the delta V between those 2 points, which is what the delta means. As I explained a few episodes ago, delta means change of. If you work it out from the start to the end of the burning period, you will get a total delta V. Now, with gravity, the line is essentially straight. We're going to have essentially a straight line because gravity is going to be roughly constant. It'll probably change just a little, but roughly we're going to have constant gravity for everything we are doing. Now that makes it very, very easy to integrate, because we can just use the basic rules of integration on, in fact, a curve or anything like that is fairly easy. It's just when you start getting into fractions and 1 over time, for example, that is where things change. Logarithms come in then. That natural log, differentiation, integration can start getting a little tricky, especially when you end up with logs over things and then logs under things. But anyway, that aside, if we were to do that, all we have to do is add. So we start with acceleration. Our acceleration is G 9.81 roughly, maybe 9.7. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a G of 10. So that's where we're factoring a little bit of that drag into account the entire way through. So if we give it a G of 10 plus, it is a really easy number to work with then. What we then need to do is we need to put that, or first of all, we can integrate that and work that out, and that shall give us a velocity. And the way you do that is you add 1 to the power and divide by the new power. Now you're probably wondering, power of what? G has a power of nothing. Well, actually, because we are doing this with respect to time, it actually is multiplied by time to the power 0. So its acceleration is g multiplied by time to the power 0. Now time to the power 0 is 1. So our acceleration is just g multiplied by 1, which is just g, which is why we write it just like that. But if we add 1 to the power and make it time to the power 1, then time to the power 1 is what is time. It's just t on its own. So t to the power 1 is t. Divide it all by 1 is itself, so it doesn't matter. So you end up with gt. The acceleration multiplied by how long that acceleration is occurring. That gives you a total velocity, a delta v. If we were to integrate that again, we add another to the power, so it becomes t to the power 2, so it's t squared, and divide it by 2. So you end up with half gt squared. Half gt squared gives us a distance, and that is the value I am looking for. So the question is how far can we go? How fast do we need to be going to get to a certain distance? So we could throw that into any equation and say we have a one unknown that we are looking for. So we could be looking for, well, in this case, we're probably looking for a distance, but we do not know how long we're going to be going, and we do not know, I suppose we do not know how fast we are going, but that is what we're going to try and work out. Now we could work out how long we're going to be going for it. So if we want to put our initial velocity in, so our final velocity is going to be 0. Our initial velocity needs to be, this is where we need to figure out, well, what kind of initial velocity should we go for? If we have a deceleration of 10, which is a nice easy number, and we have an initial velocity of, well, actually, if we have an initial velocity of 1,000, we should get 50 kilometers with a deceleration rate of 10 meters per second. That isn't bad. Let's be a little bit more conservative there. Let's say there is a lot more drag, and we have a deceleration rate of, let's say, 15. So you end up with trying to figure out, I suppose, two-thirds of that. So, well, it's going to be 30, 33. Well, it's going to be 3333333. So it's going to be 30 kilometers. So for us to be able to, if we have a deceleration of 15 meters per second, and we reach 1,000 meters per second, we need to be at 50 kilometers. We need to reach 1,000 meters per second at 50 kilometers. And that really is all there is to it. So that should give us 83 kilometers plus or minus whatever it is. So I'm putting in a little bit for margin of error. Right. In that case, we need to figure this out. We definitely need to figure this out. And this is not going to cut it. I think we're going to have to go multi-stage. Because if we look at this, this isn't cutting it. 1.14 kilometers per second. Take away the gravity losses. Again, if we're burning for 18 seconds, as I said, it's GT. So we're going to do the whole 9.81 times the 18 seconds. That's going to be a gravity. We're going to lose 176 from what we've already got, which is 1,140. So that leaves us with about 964-ish. Yeah, 964, 963. And then on top of that, you've got drag, which is probably at the lower altitude is going to be massive. I would say nearer 30% loss with drag. So you're going to end up losing another, let's say, 200, 320-ish, I guess. So you're going to reach 643 meters per second. That is what you're going to reach. I cannot see that happening. So we need 1,000. That isn't going to work. Plus, if we worked out the distance that would travel with this sort of burn time, not going to happen. We need a long burn time and a really high delta V. We are probably going to need a delta V somewhere over 2 kilometers per second to be able to manage this. Actually, 2 kilometers per second may just about do it. Tell you what though, I am curious about these rough calculations I've done with the 643. I'm glad that I can just sort of launch this and see what happens. Not that I'm doing this one properly. This is, you could say this is a experiment on, this is going to go sideways because there's no stabilization on it. But as I said, what was it, 643 is what I think this thing can reach. If it reaches more, that is really good. It's reached a lot more. In fact, the drag loss on this is far less than expected. It reached nearly 800. That's good, actually. That is really good. Because if it has reached 800, well, look, you can just see how far this thing is travelling at this point in time. And that is just because of the drag loss not being accounted for. This isn't going to reach the 80 kilometers. No way, because it was doing 800 meters per second, which is not going to give us what we want. Even with the, I'm just looking at the what do I want? Air density. Do you know what? That could be counted as nearly nothing on the air density. That genuinely is probably nothing on the air density. So, in that case, I think the 10 is probably fairly good. If we could reach, right, if we could reach 40, if we could reach 40 kilometers, we will make the 80, I think. But we need more than 800. 800 is not going to cut it. So, drag is far lower on this than expected. However, drag is going to increase because I have an idea. I'm going to need an unlock here. Exit designer, tech tree. We have the tech points. Let's see what I can unlock. That is what I want to unlock. There we go. Anything else? What's packing it tight? No, we don't need them. Catch them all. We'll have a look at parachutes later. Not yet. Liquid engines completely changes the rocket equation because you've got to take into account the percentage that you're actually burning at, because the mass flow rate changes, so that changes how the rocket equation works. Well, actually it doesn't change how it works, it just adds more steps into it. None of these really need to do anything. This could be something, potentially. I wonder how this wing thickness... Oh, how thick a wing can get, making them more resistant to that. Okay, never mind. Fasten your belts. Crew lip, no. No and no. Okay. I have an idea. We are going to use boosters. Where are they? Hello? There we go. Boosters. That is a really big booster. Sorry, not booster. That's a really big attachment point. There we go. Much better. Well, actually, much better. There we go. Okay. So, this is going to be interesting for me. So now our delta V calculations are split into two. You've got the delta V calculations that you're going to have before, and before you split the stages, and then after. And I'm still looking at the price. I'm trying to keep this very, very cheap. Now, again, I could add 3 of those onto it, and this thing is going. But that would be silly. That would be really silly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump these on the bottom. I'm going to make them much smaller. Each one can be 1.3. The reason I'm dumping it on the bottom is it makes it easier to handle these. There we go. Again, I'll make these smaller. Bit of radial symmetry. In fact, let's do quad on those. There we go. Now I'll stick this here for now. So we've gone from 1.14 to 1.17. But the other thing I'm doing, and this is really important, should I add 3 of these or 2 of these? That could be interesting. 3 is fairly balanced, I would say. Anyway, what I am doing, as I try to align these a little, there we go, is though I'm increasing the delta V, I'm increasing the burn time, as you can see. And that is really important because the burn time is a big factor in how far you travel. So even if your delta V was, let's say, 1,000 meters per second. That's your delta V. Forget gravity losses, forget anything like that. That is your delta V. If you burn for 4 seconds and reach that 1,000 meters per second in 4 seconds, that means that in those 4 seconds you have not travelled that far. However, if you are burning for a very long time and then you're reaching that velocity and you're still burning, you are actually travelling further. It should give you a further distance travelled, theoretically. Now I'm thinking about this. If it takes you 30 seconds to get to the 1,000 meters per second, yes, for the entire time that you are burning, your average speed is going up. Your average speed is... Now I'm curious. Now I am curious. because if we burn for, let's say our velocity is 1,000 and we burn for 10 seconds. So you've gone from 0 to 1,000. Now that does make sense. That does make sense because you'll end up travelling, what, 50,000 metres if you're burning for 10 seconds. But if it's 1,000... If it's 1,000 and you're burning for 30 seconds, then you'll travel a lot further. I feel like I'm missing one key point here, but I think I know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm actually talking a load of gibberish as well. I would like to bring these up to 1.5 meters, please. 1.77 kilometers per second. Now, gravity, the deceleration due to gravity is going to be perfectly fine. It doesn't matter what the mass of your object is. Everything will decelerate or will be pulled back down to a planet or pulled in a gravitational field at the exact same rate. What does matter is drag. That is what changes with change of design, change of mass, etc. So in a vacuum, if you were to create a vacuum and drop, I don't know, I'm thinking of modern things now. If you were to drop a mobile phone in a vacuum and a... what else would you drop? A mobile phone in a vacuum and a PlayStation controller in a vacuum. They have different masses, they have different shapes, but they will both fall at the exact same rate if they are in the exact same gravitational field. Put that in air and things may change a little, because the phone is not that aerodynamic. I mean, it's a slab, whereas the PlayStation controller is a little bit more aerodynamic, but also has the little analog sticks and stuff which could cause eddy currents and extra drag and skin friction and all of that kind of stuff. The phone is smoother. There's a load of things that could go into that. Anyway, all of that aside, I think we are on to something here. I think we are on to something. At 17k, that is not bad. That is not bad at all. So let's stage these. Those engines fire first. Then we'll have that falls out. Then these engines fire. Then the payload fairing base will open up. That's the plan. Now, will I need fins to keep this stable? I've got a feeling this is going to induce a rotation. I think this is going to induce a rotation, but I am here to try. So, let's give this some paint, shall we? Paint, paint, paint. Here we go. Orange. That works. Boosters. Of course they're going to be orange. We'll do that. I shall like to see these. Oh, can I not change the... No. I was going to say, can I not change the other bits? What is that in the middle? Excuse me, what are you? Apparently something that is getting in the way. We could just have a bare metal rocket. What is that supposed to be? Heavy metal. Alright. Can I not paint those? No. Oh, that orange looks terrible at the bottom. Okay. Now we need to do a few things. Part style, texture. Yes, I need to make an adjustment on this. That could work. That could really work. And on this... vents. What? No. Camo tiles? No. Rivets? No. Crossbeam? No. Insulation? No. No. Just a smooth rocket. Could you do that and then have a few rivets there, and then cannot do anything with that. Okay. Could this work at 1.75 kilometers per second? I think we may be able to do this here. This is doable. Again, doing maths. I'm just doing maths in my head here. Nothing too serious. Oh, I know there was an update, but does the middle mouse button no longer... Oh. Well, that's annoying. How do I get this to... How do I rotate my view? Excuse me a moment, pause that. How do I rotate my view? Keyboard, maybe? Mouse? No. Planet Studio, there could be something in here that may help me. J and L. No, roll. U and O. Could those work in this? I'd like to try it. Designer, anything in here that could do it? No. Let's try it. We're good with the settings. Thank you. Nope. That doesn't work either. Okay. Well, I'm not too keen on the rocket colour. It's blacker than coal, which is essentially the blackest you can get. It's like Vanta black. Here we go. Surprisingly, no rotation. Okay, that has not worked. I know why that has not worked. Okay, we need some stability. We definitely need some stability. Also, I do not like the colour of that in the slightest. We are going back to metal, please. There we go. That was just too dark. I'm sure I can change around the colours. Stability, we require fins. Fins. The largest fins one can get. No. We do not want extremely large fins. We could do with that though. 3 fins. That should keep that stable. I'm hoping. Paint. Sorry, I was looking for the paint. That should keep that stable, although all of this is going to increase drag. Oh no. So, with all that increasing drag, I'm going to bring these up to 1.7. Okay. Delta V estimated here, 1.77, with gravity losses of 9.81. We're going to lose 274 from that one, or 275. So we'll take away 275, which leaves us 1495. Take away 300 meters per second for drag. So I took away 300 meters per second last time, and it was nowhere near that. But this time I think it is going to be near that. So that gives us 1-1. as long as this gets us to... or nearly 1-2. As long as this gets us to 25 kilometers, we may be able to make it. This is interesting. This is quite interesting. Just a little bit sad that I cannot do the roly thing anymore. Why can I not do the roly thing? Change camera view. What else do I have? Space aligned. And that could do something. Chase view, flyby cinematic, flyby stationary. Camera. That's annoying. Also, before we do anything, somebody did remind me that I do have a map available now. So I need to... Yeah, there's no way I'm getting a rocket there. I was struggling to get a rocket there. How am I supposed to get a rocket there to try and land it in the water? At least I know which way to go. Anyway, let's launch and see what happens. Now that's a lot of engine force. I'm actually thinking of taking one of those off. Now we may have a rotation, but this should at least stay flying upright now. There it goes. That's not what I wanted to press. We had something up here, didn't we? Did we not? What was that? $1,200. I did predict about 1-2. I think we're going to make it. At 1,200, we should be able to get. Yeah, this should make it. This should make it without an issue. We should be able to get to 90 kilometers, I would think. There we go. Job done. Because at 1,000, so if we think about it, 1,200 again, throwing it into the equations with a deceleration of 10 meters per second, which we do not have. You can actually see that, but with a deceleration of 10 meters per second, we would have we would be able to go another 72,000 meters. Yeah, 72,000 meters, which is more than enough. That's that done. I'm actually curious as to what altitude we reach. I think we're going to reach 100. We could reach 100,000 meters here. There's some water. There's some water. That's the water we were after. But there we go. So my calculations were correct. Although, again, we've spent a little bit more than we wanted to. I wanted to reach 1,000 meters per second. We reached 1,200, which is fine. Oh look, we can actually do that now. And we overshot by 28 kilometers. But that's okay. Let's end the flight, recover the craft, destroy the craft. Fine. Let's see what's next. Light speed. Reach 80 kilometers, go faster than 1 kilometer per second. Guess what? I can do this. Let's accept that. I shall actually make an adjustment. Because we are destroying. We're destroying our. I say we're destroying our design a little. We're using too much fuel, essentially. So let's do that. That's probably a little better. Just in slightly. There we go. Okay. So, right, it's not going to let us take that, is it? That's some sort of payload. Yeah, you need to go. Just put one of these on. There we go. Not a problem. Spray paint it the right colour. That's important. That's not the right colour. There we go. The right colour. I'll change the pattern on it to... no, not the style. Do we just have those two styles? Surely we're going to have another style come up. Yeah, let's just put some rivets up the top. Why not? And we really want to drop the size of these. In fact, drop the size of all of this. Drop that to 2. And we should be okay. That will actually drag a little because our skin friction will drop. That should give us what we want. I think that should give us what we want. So let's go for it. Easy peasy. Deadline 60 days. All right. Hey, here we go. I'm a little bit disappointed about the... yeah, just a little bit disappointed about the... oh, we've got that rotation going on. Seems to stabilised. Yeah, just a little bit disappointed about not being able to... for some reason the middle mouse button no longer allows me to rotate the camera. Yes, it was a little bit finicky, but it was still pretty good. And that has done everything I want it to do. Yeah, we're definitely getting to that point. Was that heat generated on the metal? That was excellent if it was. 100,000, we're going to reach 100 kilometers again. I can guarantee that. Yeah, I can guarantee we're reaching 100 kilometers again. The reason I knew that is that at the 50 we reached... oh, but we have to be going faster than 1 kilometers per second at 80 kilometers. Right. That was not what I was expecting. Okay. That makes things... that's different. That is different. If that's the case, we have a whole different game we've got to play here. Because then we need a really big delta V. We're talking about delta V of 2.5 or something like that. 1.98. No, because when that runs out, 35 seconds, we'll be doing about 1.4. We're going to be doing 1.4, and if we're decelerating again, if we just say at 10 meters per second, it's going to take us 40 seconds to decelerate. And in those 40 seconds... So if we're doing 1,400 before... and then... we decelerate at our rate of... what? Half 80 squared, so... for 40 seconds... I don't think we're going to be able to do this. Oh, are we going to get to where we want to be? Actually, we should be able to, but it's going to be close. I think if we do this, this is going to be pretty close. Reading that correctly, so that wasn't clear. I didn't realise that it wanted us to reach that lose a little bit there. Just wondering, how fast can we go? If we reach 1516, realistically we're only going to reach about 14, I thought, but we may reach 1516. Now there's the 14 I thought that we were going to reach. Now we have 40 seconds here. Can we reach 80 at 40 seconds? We're at 50. I think we may do it. I think we're going to do it. Just. I did say this would be close. If we manage it. There's 70. Again, just timing these things up exactly where we want it to be. There you go. Within 50 meters per second. I feel like I'm actually getting good at this. How much was that one worth? Hold on. Can I see show completed? No. Oh, bother. What do we have now? Going sideways. 500 kilometers away from the... Yeah, that isn't happening right now. I like this new option about refreshing things. Light speed, again. 2 kilometers per second. Okay. 2000 meters per second doesn't sound impressive. Yes, it does. Okay. How are we going to do this? I have one option. This is a silly option, but it is an option. That isn't going to be enough. That really isn't going to be enough. We need to bring this rocket up. Let's have a 4-meter rocket. Well, a 4-meter fuel tank. It's going to be much bigger than 4 meters overall. $210. Yeah, now we're at the point of diminishing returns. Look at that. 211. We're at the point of diminishing returns. What we need to do, amazingly, is we need to up that to get the acceleration going. Let's see. 207. Right, these boosters are going to need an adjustment. There you go, 245. Now we are talking. And if I were to increase... Oh no, if we leave that as it is, our starting thrust to weight ratio is okay at 2. Yeah, let's try this. Okay, and this will be the last thing I do for this video. Here we go. So we have the same engines, but we've got much bigger fuel tanks. And of course on the main engine we've got another fuel tank. So this is where the two delta V's come into play, because the delta V for this will be calculated differently, because we've got 3 things that have mass that we're going to drop. If that makes sense. We're accelerating slowly, but we are definitely reaching a much higher altitude before continuing our acceleration. 48, 49, 450, 451. Come on. Oh, they could have, that could have gone wrong. There is a bit of a wobble, but we are managing it just about. There is a bit of, you see a bit of a wobble. But we are heating up a little. reach 2,000 meters per second. Interesting. I think we're going to need a bigger rocket. Yep. I simply think that the fuel tanks on this particular rocket are not... Ah, that was interesting. Right, so you come off there, you come off there. I shall increase you to... Let's go back to the size of rocket that I am more used to. There we go. Let's go for larger engines, like so, and a fifth. We are really going to push this one a little. Let's go for that. We shall increase the size of these two so that they work a little better. Reattach this. There we go. 2.65. Add in these in again in our radial fashion. 2.65. 2.65. The other thing I could do is I could fire everything at once. All the engines at once, and as these detach... No, but then we're going to be going way too fast. That's the other thing. We do not want to be going too fast, because as you noticed, we had aerodynamic forces, we had heat. That was a loss of friction building up through the atmosphere there. So that is something else I need to be concerned about, and I need to think of. So let's try and attempt this. Now this is much slower. This one is not going so. This is not going very well at all. Although then the subsequent acceleration is quite substantial. But then so is the drag loss. And there's that heat. That is a lot of friction. That is slowing us down a massive amount. 1,700. Going to need to do an entire redesign of this. Instead of throwing things together, let me do some maths. Actually work out the averages. Work out the distances that you can travel. I'm still sure that if we reach a... But I'm just thinking, if we reach a higher speed, yes, in this case it does make sense, because if we reach a higher speed in a lower time, we have more drag to work with. I knew there was a reason why I was saying it. Theoretically, that makes sense to me. Because if you are... So if you're doing 1,000 meters per second in 4 seconds, then you're blasting through the atmosphere at 1,000 meters per second. You've got, well, the gravity is going to remain the same, it doesn't matter what. You've got all that drag pushing down on you. However, if you're accelerating slowly, you're using less fuel. You're using less fuel to do the same... Would it be the same distance? Either you could look at it as you are using less fuel to do the same distance, or you're using the same amount of fuel to do a greater distance because you're not having to overcome the drag. But anyway, at that point I'm going to leave it there. In the next video we shall do an entire redesign of the rocket to get the... if we exit the designer, let's just have a look. To get light speed going. And then, perhaps, we shall start looking at like a bird. It looks like we have to make an actual glider there. So thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Juno New Origins. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. Don't forget to support me on Patreon if you can do so at www.patreon.com/ECGadget. Your support would be massively appreciated. It would really help me out. And also, you can find me on social media at ECGadgetLP for both Twitter and Instagram. That is all from me. I shall see you next time in Juno New Origins.